Yo, what is up guys, Ghost here. Welcome back to Stormgate Central, and today we have the second game in the Yeti Cup. We have K-Dong against Swifty here. So Mr. Dong is going to be playing as the Vanguard down in the bottom right. Don't forget guys, by the way, if you do want to see more content on Stormgate, hit that subscribe button. I am going to be, of course, casting the remainder of this tournament and also putting out a lot of interesting build orders and guides for you guys who are looking to play the game in the next fest, or if you're lucky enough to be in the closed beta test. Hopefully I can give you guys a bit of a hand. And up in the top right, we have Swifty, and he is going to be playing as the Infernal. So another Vanguard versus Infernal matchup here. Dong is getting in there with his scout and getting some nice harassment off here, being an absolutely pain in the rear. He's going to try and get a pick off of one of those imps. You can see they have this white health. The white health only regenerates whilst you are on the shroud. Once you move off of the shroud, it won't degenerate, but it also won't generate. And then we see him using the, I think it's called the sonar something or other. I can't remember all of the names of the abilities in this game, guys, because it is still pretty new to me. But what that ability does is it senses units within the fog of war. So even though you can't see what units it is, you will still see units. Swifty coming down here looking like he wants to try and take an expansion, but Dong is doing an absolutely fantastic job of blocking the shrine, and he's going to go off to the east here and take the shrine there instead. Oh no, wait. He's cancelling it now and building it to the north. That is most likely because to the north of the shrine positioning there, you also have the Therium. And the only way for the workers to return Therium on the Infernals is to take it to the shrine. So it's always best to have your shrine halfway between the Luminite Mine and the Therium. The Vanguard, on the other hand, they get a special building called the Scrapyard, which is like a drop-off point for Therium. So you can get away with putting your command post oftentimes in a much more defensive position and then just putting down a scrapyard to mine the Therium instead there. So Dong is getting out on the map here. He sees that Swifty has, of course, gone for that fairly early expansion, and so he's going to go ahead and take the map control, taking some of these resource camps in the middle, and you guys will see every time he kills one of these, you get 20 Luminite. Yeah, you can actually see it there, even though we're just observing this game. So, you know, 20 Luminite may not sound like too much, but those do add up. If you kill 5 of those creeps, well, that's 100 Luminite. That is, you know, an extra habitat or almost an entire barracks that you otherwise wouldn't have been able to build. He is putting down his own command post here in the expansion. He looks like he split his bobs here. He also has the bob overcharge. They have changed it in this build of the game, guys. So the bob overcharge, what it does is it gives your bobs 100 more armor. It also increases their damage by 100%, but now it also makes them build faster. So that is a very interesting mechanic. You have to make that decision with your energy between, you know, do you want to keep that energy in reserve for if you get attacked and you need to use the bob overcharge defensively, or do you just want to build stuff as quickly as possible and use it in that way? I guess you could say more offensively, really. So Swifty is moving out here. He's going to go ahead and take the vision camp on his side of the map. We do have that scout, so Dong will have likely seen these brutes up on the high ground and scouted them here. As I mentioned before, the scouts, not just when they use the sonar ability that he just used right there, but all of the time, they can see units through the fog of war if they're close enough. They can't see what unit it is, but they can see that there is some sort of a unit there. And so a lot of the time, the Vanguard will have noticed that the Infernal player is on the move, but the Infernal player, because they don't see through the fog of war, they are none the wiser. Dong is going to come into the natural here, getting another scout off, seeing what he can see, and he sees a couple of iron vaults. So nothing out of the ordinary here. We don't see any Therium mining going on yet in the natural. Not sure what's happening in the main, but yeah, we've got 7 workers now on the main on Therium. That is definitely quite a few there. This brute, I think, has wandered the wrong way into the natural. It is going to get split there or die and break off into the 2 fiends. So every time you lose a brute, you get these two fiends, but you can also manually split the brute as well at any time. So if you want to split a bunch of brutes at the same time and turn them into a bunch of fiends, they can be a really, really great harassment unit in the worker line. They're also exceedingly good at picking off buildings. So Dong here, by the way, I'm not sure if I mentioned this, but I believe Kevin Dong is the lead gameplay designer. So I'm going to assume that he's fairly good at the game. I know he's got a big history with StarCraft, so he's like an RTS guy, so I'm expecting big things from Kevin here. But we do see a couple of hedgehogs coming out now, so going for that classic Lancer hedgehog build that was so popular in the last beta, the hedgehogs, they have gotten an updated model, as you can see now. It looks a lot better than the little race cars that they were before, but they were also fairly heavily nerfed because, you know, the range of them, they were just a little smidgen too good, and they kind of started to overwhelm the meta, to be honest, for the Vanguard. Swifty here, he's got some Hellborn out. The Hellborn, I've been playing the ladder quite a bit recently, and almost every time I play against Infernals, I'm seeing these Hellborn. I'm not sure if it's just because it's a new unit and everyone wants to try it out, but they seem pretty powerful so far. He's also got a Magmadon in there as well, so the question is he going to be able to trap the hedgehogs of Dong, doing some really nice cliff harassment there on the Luminite mine of the natural of Swifty. That's a really, really nice move. That brute is never going to be able to catch these hedgehogs. The fiends might, though, and there you can see some of the fireballs coming in from that Hellborn. The range on that is actually kind of impressive. I'm going to have to try some of those out for myself. Swifty is going to continue to push across the map here, and it looks like Dong is going to have no choice but to start retreating here. I mean, where are the rest of the units? Is he getting Vulcans out? Because, there we go, we saw the Vulcans. I was just thinking, you know, these things are taking forever to build whatever he is building there. He's been on these 4 hedgehogs for way too long. But you can still see, hedgehogs are very effective. They can just kite those brutes around all day long, and he's probably going to come in here and try to snipe the Hellborn from the back, do some sort of a pincer move, as the Vulcans are going to go toe-to-toe with the Magmadon from the front. And now we see the Magmadon's new ability. It's called Trample. So they used to have a charge. They now have this Trample move where they periodically stun targets if you have the upgrade in an area of effect around the Magmadon. But man, these Vulcans, they are just so strong right now, and he's doing some really nice micro, picking up the Vulcan there that's low and then dropping it back down again. These Vulcans are completely repairable. We see 5 bobs there. That is exactly what he's going to do. He's going to get the repair off. So he's going to get some insane value out of these Vulcans here. And we can see, denoted by the small yellow chevron there, that one of them has gained a rank of veterancy. So what that does is it gives them 10% more damage and 20% more health, I believe it is. And you can get 3 ranks in total there. So if you do the math, 60% more health and 30% more damage. That is insane. So leaving these units alive there, those Vulcans, and allowing them to be repaired up is actually quite dangerous here for Swifty. Now he looks like he wants to move out here and take a third. The scout is going to get absolutely clobbered by 6 brutes at the same time there. So it indeed looks like Swifty is going to have no trouble at all in securing that third. Right now, I definitely think that Mr. Kevin Dong is in the lead. He just got such insane value out of those units. Not only the 3 Vulcans, but I believe those 3 Hedgehogs as well. They were all in the red. I think they had 1 little bar of health left. And yet one of them has a veterancy rank upgrade there. And he managed to keep all of those mechanical units alive and repair them up with the bobs. So, like I said, absolutely crazy value, and he's already taken his third down here. Generally speaking, in this game, to me, the Infernals, they feel a little bit similar to the Zerg in, you know, how 3 Zerg bases are sort of around the same as 2 Protoss bases. Generally, the Zerg want to be like 1 base up. I feel like it's the same for the Infernals. If you're going up against a 2-base Vanguard player, you want to have 3 bases really as the Infernals, and at the moment we see a 3-base Vanguard player, so he really wants to take that 4th and just start pumping out units as fast as he can. There is a very interesting unit production mechanic for the Infernals in this game, where you store up charges, and then there's also a ritual that you can cast on your building that resets the charges. So, you know, not building and macroing isn't the biggest deal in the world. As Infernal, you can't afford to bank a lot of resources. Really, the name of the game is taking as many expansions as you can and banking as many resources as you can, and then you can just pump out an absolutely insane amount of units when you need to. Now, Swifty is doing the smart thing here. He's going to move up to the Observer camp again. You can see that was a level 2 camp, so he's already taken it once. He's taken it a second time now, and I've said it before, but I'll say it again. Those Observer camps are absolutely key in controlling the map and making sure, especially as you take your 3rd and your 4th there over to the top left of the map, that you're not getting flanked and there aren't any incoming excursions from the Vanguard player here. Kevin, of course, has his own Observer tower down to the bottom right, and we now see some Hornets. So the Hornets have a ground attack, they also have an air-to-air attack. Pretty formidable fighters here. I'm not exactly sure what he's going for. Is he going to go for some sort of harassment? But Swifty has the answer. He has Shadow Flayers out, which for all intents and purposes are pretty much the scourge for the Infernals. They will explode once they come into contact with those Hornets, so Dong is going to have to be careful here. So Dong is apparently going full on mech here, supported by Hornets. We now see an Atlas out on the field. This is the siege unit for the Vanguard, and they are very powerful. They can also be picked up by the evacs, which are essentially the dropships for the Vanguard. They can be picked up and dropped in siege mode, so you can do some nice macro there, kind of similar to Reaver macro, where you drop one, let it fire a shot, pick it back up, drop it again. Oh my god, a massive hit from the Shadow Flayers there, comes in and takes out 2 of the Hornets, and another one's gonna go down. Oh, that was painful. I'm not sure he's gonna go for any more Hornets after that. Damn, those Shadow Flayers, they just absolutely destroy those Hornets. I think actually 2 Shadow Flayers took out 2 Hornets, so they do have splash damage. They don't have to go into specific targets like the Scourge, I believe, work that way, but these ones here have splash, so you definitely need to micro these Hornets well. Split them apart when you see those Shadow Flayers incoming. In fact, I'm not really sure if they are that microable against. To be honest with you, I haven't really played or seen Shadow Flayers too much in the game, but maybe I just need to get up a little bit in MMR, and then I'll start getting Shadow Flayers exploding in my face as well. Swifty gonna go ahead and take that 4th, doing what he needs to do here, and he's just sort of containing Dong outside his base. We've got a bit of an Atlas versus Hellborn siege showdown there. I think the Atlas is definitely the stronger and more expensive of the 2 siege units. And Swifty's just going to move into the 3rd here. He's got to try at least. It's not going to work though, because he does have a sentry turret set up there with a Lancer inside. And that buzzsaw is absolutely devastating. And of course, there's also the Atlas on the high ground. We've got Atlas on the low ground there. And we have a bunch of Vulcans. So, you know, Dong's army here is getting very, very strong. This is really not a position you want to be in as an Infernal player, where the Vanguard has access to everything, and he's going to pick off those resource camps there with ease. He finds a stray Hellborn trying to make his way across the map to join his brothers in arms, but unfortunately gets picked off there. Nice pick on the Shadow Flyer. There is another Shadow. Watch out! Oh, well, that was close. That was too close. The splash on those things. I'm not sure how much splash they have there, but you really do not want to get hit by those as he takes another shot. I really don't know what the cost is of the Hornets versus the Hellflayers. But that one is... Oh, look at the acceleration of that! Oh my god, it's almost... Oh my god, that's insane. Look at that splash, though. You can see every single one of these Hornets is on low health. The splash range on that is absolutely crazy. So if you're flying around with a bunch of these Hornets, be careful, beware, that's all I can say. Swifty is going to move out across the map here, and I think he has enough Shadow Flayers here that he's going to be able to deny the Hornets. I would be interested to see what the health is of the Shadow Flayers. Like, do they have mostly white health and then just a little teeny bit of normal health so that they can sort of be easily taken down here? I'm not quite sure, but they do have an increased flight mode there. So once they sort of latch onto a target, they just make a beeline, and as you guys could see before, they seem to have exactly the same movement speed as the Hornets. So once they latch onto you, there is no running away there. But nevertheless, we do have quite a strong mech army down on the ground here for Dong, so I'm not sure if Swifty is going to be able to just waltz his way in here, because this is just so well defended. This is like that classic Terran turtle move that you see, you know, really hard to break here. I think if I was Swifty right now, I would just go out on the map and take as many expansions as I can, get up my production buildings so that if I lose my entire army, I can just almost instantly max myself out again and just sort of throw my army into Kevin's base again and again until he falls here. Now, Dong does have, I think he had an evac at least that he was using earlier on to pick up the Vulcans there and get them out of dodge. I'm not sure if that evac went down, but if he still had it, he would actually be able to do some Atlas drops in the bases of Swifty. But, oh my god, absolutely devastating hits from the Shadow Flyers there on the Hornets. Maybe with those Shadow Flyers flying around, using an evac is almost impossible. But at the same time, that may well be the answer. The evacs actually have a brand new ability called the Sky Mine that actually used to be an ability for the Hornet, and they've now moved it over to the evac. And this Sky Mine will basically daze and slow any air units that fly into it. So maybe effective against the Shadow Flyers, but then again, it only takes a couple of those bad boys to take out anything that flies in the air, it seems. Swifty is just going to continue to put on the pressure outside here. I'm honestly not sure how this is going to go. I think both players are somewhat even. Unfortunately, the replay functionality is kind of rudimentary, so we don't really see any stats here, but it sort of feels like this is a fairly even game. But I think Swifty's just going to go for it here. All the trees are gone. They've been decimated by the Atlas, and he's just going to go straight into the third of Dong here, straight into the Atlases, but he's getting destroyed. The army of Kevin Dong is just too strong, and Swifty is going to have to max up again very quickly here if he wants to survive. Let's see how Dong decides to answer that. He is underplaying his Atlases here, and he looks like he's going to be just making a move across the map and setting up a siege position. My god, he has so many. How many is that now? 5, 6, 7 Atlas, a bunch of hedgehogs, and he's also got the Hornets there. And here we see the Flayed Dragon coming out for Swifty. This is kind of like the ultimate unit of the Infernal. So whenever you kill the units as an Infernal, you build up this energy called Animus, and you can use your Shroud Stones to invoke certain rituals. And this right here is the ultimate ritual, summoning the Flayed Dragon. And the Flayed Dragon has several abilities. It can actually infest a bunch of units on the ground. It has a bunch of hit points, and it is not an easy target to take down, especially not when it has that white health that it can just continuously regenerate on the Shroud. But K-Dong is going to be coming in here and looking to strike the killing blow using the way through the trees there. So on this map, you actually have 2 different thirds that you can take. You can go for the third that both the players went for, but you can also go through the trees and take that one there, which is a little bit more safe. And it seems that he's actually utilizing that in his opponent's base to kind of come in from a sneaky angle here. I really don't think that Swifty was expecting this at all. The Flayed Dragon finally goes down there after taking a lot of punishment, and it's GG, man. The army of this Vanguard player here is just way too strong. Well played. 1-0 to Kevin, and we are going to go straight into game number 2. So down in the bottom left, we have the Dong, playing as the Vanguard. This appears to be an entirely new map. I think they've just added that for the first time in this beta 2.0 here. I think it's called Boneyard. I've seen if you go into create custom game, you can select this map, but it's not one that I've ever played yet. So once again, completely foreign to me. This looks really cool though there. Look at that skull with the little pond. That's awesome. And of course, up in the top right, we have Mr. Swifty. Going to be trying to look to make a comeback here in this best of 3. So Dong, he's going to go ahead and use that sonar ability there just to make sure that there aren't any imps up to no good, going in any secret spaces that they shouldn't be going in, trying to get proxies off or something like that. Iron Vault is coming down, so everything seems to be pretty standard here. We don't see any workers on the Therium, so that would signal that he's not going to be going for any kind of a early Gaunt drop or anything like that. exactly the same build here, it seems, from Swifty. He's sending out the 2 imps here, one of them to build a shrine with, and the other one to fend off the scout from K-Dong. Again, though, he's doing a great job here of just denying the positioning. I don't really think the position matters too much on this particular expansion, though. There is no Therium as far as I can see here, and it's up on the high ground, so as long as it's in range of the Luminite mine, I don't think it really matters where you place that shrine. So he does get it down there in the end, and he's actually sending more dogs across the map here. It looks like he's not going to be looking to take an expansion. K-Dong is on the offensive with his K9s, and he's sending a Bob as well. What is this? What is happening here? The scouts are actually, although appearances can be deceiving, they are not biological units. They are actually mechanical units, so he can use that Bob to defend the scouts. But what is this? He's making a sentry post just outside the natural of Swifty. Now, there are several unit types that you can put inside of the sentry turret. And for example, if you put a Bob in there, it actually becomes a repair station. So that could be one thing he's looking to do there, is repair up these scouts as they take damage and then just go back in and do a little bit more damage. He has had to retreat there as the supply building for the Infernals, the meat farm, they produce these little piggies called Fell Hogs, and they are AI controlled, but they will fight off enemy units. This map actually has quite a lot of resources in the middle here, so there are 4 different resource camps right in the center of the map. So that's actually super interesting. We do see Dong going into the main now, gonna get some picks on imps. Oh, nice save there by Swifty. He decides to morph those guys. He's gonna get the 1 imp there, but he does save 2 of them, morphing them into meat farms, and then going for the cancel. So that did cost him a little bit of Luminite there, but not really anything compared to losing those imps. So that was a really cool move there. He's going to go and try and harass the natural a little bit, but I don't think he's going to manage to get anything done. And that is exactly what he's doing with the turret here. He's just using this as a repair station. Bear in mind, guys, that you can actually salvage every single Vanguard building in the game for the same cost that you built it for. So you don't lose anything for doing that. Maybe just the building time. And he does have to be careful with these dogs here, because as you can see by that green mist on them, these are infested here. So if those do start to go down and fiends start to spawn out of them, then things can snowball very quickly there in favor of Swifty. You really don't want to be giving your opponent free units, you know what I mean? But he's going to be returning here to the repair station and getting a little repair off there. We do see the biokinetics lab there in the main, which most likely means he has gone for the Beryllium Claws upgrade for the dogs. I believe that makes them do around 16 more damage to light units. So really, really great for picking off workers in the mineral line, or in the worker line, I suppose I should say. It's not minerals now, it's Luminite, isn't it? That one goes down, spawning 1 fiend there. There you can see the infest in action. But I don't think he's really getting enough done with these dogs. You know, I'd like to see him sort of transition out of the dogs and into something else. Maybe he's going to play bio, and we're going to see some Exos and Lancers, maybe with some Medtechs later on, and who knows, going for those Vulcans in the end, which kind of is the ultimate Vanguard composition there. Swifty's just going to sit tight. He's just going to sit tight and defend his expansion. But I do like this. He's going around all these 4 resource camps, and he is just gobbling all of them up there. And like I said in an earlier game, each of these is worth 20 Luminite. So if there is 2 at each resource camp, then what is that? 160 Luminite there for taking all 4 of those. And every time a resource camp respawns, it is going to be a higher level. So that means it's either going to have more creeps in it, or creeps of a higher level that return more resources to you. So, you know, things can make a big difference there. I really like this move here, putting down the meat farms as some sort of a blockade here. The meat farms for the Infernals mixed in with Shroud Stones, they actually make a pretty effective wall. You know, the Shroud Stones in the back doing damage, and the meat farms can be quite difficult to break through, because oftentimes those little Fell Hogs will jump out at you and kind of block your way, so you can't just walk on straight through and get to the Shroud Stones. But Swifty's just going to move across the map here, and Kevin Dong, he's still just got the dogs. And whilst those dogs may do a lot of damage to light units like the Gaunts there and the Workers, they are not going to do anything against brutes. So he has no choice but to retreat here. But luckily we do have a bunch of lancers there in the natural. So what is happening in the biokinetics lab? It's not researching at the moment. I honestly thought at this point of the game we would see exos. We don't see any mech labs yet for Kevin Dong, so it does look like he's going into bio, and if you're going to go bio, you definitely need those exos to help snipe off the brutes. But Swifty is going to move in here just as the biokinetics lab starts researching, and he is going to deny what I can only assume is the upgrade for the exos, and Dong is going to have to pop the Bob overcharge and defend here. I think he has enough now with the scouts and backup lancers coming in. He does just have enough to hold this. But this is not looking too hot anymore. I think he really, really needs to get those exos out ASAP. He's moving up into the expansion here. I'm not sure why. He probably should have just retreated with those units and tried to hold on with them, as Kevin is going to defend this attack here. Taking down that health camp is also a good idea. You know, it's basically free heals for your army, so if you've just been in a big engagement like that, it's quite a good idea to just go to one of those health camps and take it down, just so you can get a little heal up there without having to have medtechs. So what is the answer going to be there for Kevin? Is he going to manage to pull this game back here? The biokinetics lab is now back up again. One of the great things about the Vanguard is that you can do what is called power building with the bobs there. You can also pop the Bob overcharge to power build even faster. So if you find yourself supply boxed, or you find that you need a barracks or whatever it is very, very quickly, you can just drop a building in like a few seconds. You are going to have to sacrifice a little bit of mining time to do that, but it's definitely worth it in certain situations, such as this one. But he is moving out across the map, so again, pretty ballsy here after having just survived that attack. But then again, I guess he has to make something happen here. If he just sits back and defends, then Swifty is going to gain such an economical advantage, and he's just going to come in and steamroll Dong. So he moves into the third that is almost ready, just managing to take down those Shroud Stones, in fact, or one of them, just as it comes up here. But Swifty is going to come in and manage to defend this, holding onto the shrine at the third. And Mr. Dong is going to backpedal again here and retreat. So right now, I would say this again is a fairly even game here. Both players have certainly lost a decent amount of units there. We did see Swifty, of course, poke into Dong's base, but let's not forget that at the start of the game, he did some really nice harassment in Swifty's base with the scouts and got some really nice picks off on some imps and things like that. So I would say in terms of economy here, Swifty, he is starting to pull ahead a little bit. You know, he does have that third base, and as far as I can see, Mr. Kevin Dong does not. We are going to have another engagement here, and we do have several units with very high veterancy there. So, oh, a bit of a misclick there. He wasn't attacking, he just moved through the army. Oh, a bit of a misclick again. Oh no, I'm not sure if that was intentional. Maybe he was trying to get to the gaunts at the back there to do damage to them. And we do have a couple of exos coming in here and sniping off those gaunts at the back. So it looks like Dong is actually, I'm pretty sure he did make a little bit of a misclick there, but nevertheless, he has won this engagement here and come out on top. And now the question is he going to be able to capitalize on top of that? And right here, we actually see the third come out from Kevin here. And there you guys can see the Vanguard building in action. It is just so quick. Sometimes a command post will pop up somewhere and you barely even notice that it's been made. But Kevin is going to move here into the third, and does Swifty have anything to defend against this with? I mean, he is on 3 bases here, so he must have plenty of units. And there we go, finally, we see the brutes. The cavalry are here, and they're going to come in and defend this pretty easily, I have to say. So I'm not really sure who's winning this game at the moment, if I'm honest, guys. It seems to be fairly even. I think these two players are extremely well matched. We've got 3 bases all here. Like I said, I really, really wish we had some resources on screen, some supply numbers, and things of that nature, so we could get a bit of a better look into who is actually ahead. Because right now, we're basically just going on feeling. Now, Kevin does actually have a few med techs out here, which are great units. Not only will they heal your biological units, but you can also get an upgrade called Nano Swarm that heals mechanical units as well. Not that that's really going to do him many favors here, since he has this biological army. But he is going to back off here. He's doing his best stutter stepping those Exos and trying to snipe the Fiends and Brutes. But he does have to be careful because there are a couple of Magmadons, and that one has set off a trample. And as you guys can see, they just sort of periodically trample the ground. And if he has the upgrade for that, which I believe you can upgrade at the Shadow Cleft upgrade building, then they will periodically stun the enemy units as well. So here we see him using one of the infernal rituals, the Fetish, which creates a small area of Shroud anywhere on the map. So that's really nice. And there we see the Magmadon. He does not have the stun. So that is actually really, really bad for Swifty here. You absolutely need that stun so that you can get in on top of the Vanguard player and really start to dominate that army. I can certainly attest to that, that once you get one of those Magmadons just charging through the army, stunning everything in sight, the Vanguard army will really just melt very quickly. But at the moment, without that upgrade, he's just able to snipe off those Magmadons with the Exos. Exos, you know, they really shouldn't be underestimated. And I think Kevin's got this, man. He's got an amazing pincer move on here, coming in with the overcharged bombs, as we also see him picking off some reinforcements from Swifty on the right side there with the Exos, doing some great stutter stepping, keeping out of the way of that Magmadon with the Exos, and he's going to get this sniped off very easily here, and he's just going to mop the rest of Swifty's army up. So Swifty now on the retreat. Honestly, what I would like to see Kevin do at the moment is, if you guys can see on the map, right at the top of the map and at the bottom there are those little eyeball icons which mark the vision towers. And I believe where those vision towers are, there is a ramp into the main base of your opponent. And as you can see, Swifty does not have his vision tower. Actually, neither does Kevin Dong, so they could definitely be exploiting those. I'm just guessing, really. I've never played this map on the ladder or anything, but I'm just thinking, why else would those vision towers be there if there weren't some sort of a flanking route into the base? So Dong's army composition is really coming together here. You can just see how strong the bio becomes once you have the front line of Exos with the upgrade, which increases their movement speed when they get attacked, which basically makes them very, very hard to kite against. Then you've got the Exos that also get a movement speed increase whenever they do damage, and then you've got the medtech supporting everything. And down in the south here, it looks like Kevin was trying to secure himself a fourth base with a bunch of bobs, most likely his bobs from the main that have mined out the Luminite mine there. But Swifty is going to come in and he is going to deny this, just as we saw Kevin do up in the north. I really, really want to... I'm convinced now that there is a ramp up in the north, because I saw Swifty's army units on the minimap. It's a shame that I'm not in control of the game and I can't look around the map here, guys, but I saw his units move across from the west of his main, so there's definitely a ramp up there. But another engagement going on here. We've got the medtechs actually in the front. Believe it or not, they are pretty tanky units, and there just isn't enough of the bulky forces of Swifty here. He's just got gaunts, and these gaunts are absolutely getting melted by the Exos. There aren't enough Magmadons here to support this army, and the amount of value that Kevin is getting out of this army here is just insane. I mean, just look at the veterancy bonuses there. There is an Exo down there with 3 upgrades, which means it's doing 30% more damage, and it has 60% more health. And, I mean, it's just crazy value, man. Swifty is going to be relentless, though. He just keeps on funneling more and more gaunts. We've got, oh, those Exos almost went down there. He really wants to keep those Exos with the high veterancy alive. He needs to get them healed up with the medtechs, but unfortunately, the medtechs are just completely out of energy now. But you could see before, when they were healing away, that Dong's army really wasn't dropping at all. So medtechs in this game, I would say, extremely powerful units, even more powerful than, for example, medics in Brood War. I think adding in a Vulcan or 2 to this army would also go a really, really long way. The Vulcans are just so incredibly tanky. They have a ton of hit points, and they do damage in a line. And especially when it comes to these light units, like the Gaunts and the Fiends, they just absolutely melt as soon as you have a couple of Vulcans in there. But Swifty, it looks like he has the right idea now. He's gotten 4 Magmadons out there. And that's really what you want against this sort of an army. You want more Brutes and more Magmadons. And, you know, you really only need a few Gaunts. Really, the Gaunts are there to spread the infest so that when the enemy's units die, you get those Fiends. But it doesn't really make it, as long as you have enough Gaunts to infest all of the enemy biological units, it's kind of overkill to have more than that. So I see a lot of players make that mistake. They just mass up way too many Gaunts. And honestly, they don't have the strongest attack in the game. So I think he's definitely on something here, getting out more Magmadons. Of course, with the Infernals, the trouble is always getting enough of that all-important Therium. But Kevin is coming up here, and the Gaunts are at the front. They should be at the back, and they are just getting sniped off by the Exos. He is needlessly throwing away units here. Now, finally, the Magmadons have come in here with a trample, but he still does not have the upgrade. I mean, we saw the Shadow Cleft a really, really long time ago up in the north of Swifty's base. It's just coming in now. He finally got the upgrade there. And you can see how powerful that is here. They just constantly interrupt the enemy and stun them up there. But it's just too little too late, man. He needed to have had that upgrade way before and had his Gaunt sniping the units whilst they were stunned. And I think Swifty may be in trouble here. The third does look like he's going to get picked off here. There are some units left for him still, but it's just not going to be enough, man. It's only, look at it, it's mainly Gaunt still. They're just going to get sniped down by the Exos. And now, just what I was talking about, we see Kevin has added in a couple of Vulcans as the Flayed Dragon comes out for Swifty. But again, this is just, this is an insanely powerful army. Just look at the veterancy bonuses. And here you can see how veterancy really does affect the game sometimes. If you can manage to keep those units alive with your medtechs and by repairing the mechanical units, you know, don't underestimate the veterancy bonuses, guys, because it will make a big difference. And here you can see it in action as Kevin just plows straight through Swifty's army. And I can only assume that he is going to go and waltz straight up into the natural here and take this. I'm not sure if he is aware of the 4th down in the bottom there, so that he does still have one mining base here. I'm going to assume that the natural and the main are all but mined out. Oh, the natural is still mining there, we see, but the main must surely be mined out. I really don't think it's going to make a difference here because Swifty, he is clutching at straws. This entire army, as you guys can see there, it just melts so fast. And GG is called. Nice little emote there on the screen. So GG, guys, well played to Kevin Dong. He is going to advance into the semi-final. Hope you guys enjoyed this game here today. Don't forget to hit that sub button. Lots more games coming here on the channel, as well as guides and anything else Stormgate related. Check out this video if you're interested in some of those guides and you're looking to get stuck into the next fest. You will be able to play the game and download it on Steam from the 5th until the 12th of February. So don't forget, guys, check the game out if you can. Give it a wishlist on Steam as well. Tell your friends to do the same. That really helps things out. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Cheers.